every athlete, every person, every human being has an opportunity. Some opportunities don't come when you want them. But if you're prepared, good opportunities can happen. Always be ready, because you never know when your number is gonna get called.
I'm not coming back.
Emmy Apparel, encourage me, I'm young.
Cobbin T-Man, leading Emmy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to Emmy TV Podcast with your host, Cobbin T-Man, the Encourager.
What's up? Good afternoon. Welcome to Put Your Family First Podcast, Emmy TV. I'm in the building with ladies, and we're talking sex today. Now, as a Virgo male, this is up there, like in the number one spot. Like, so I'm just making that clear. I'm all ears today. I'll be listening for any new tricks or trades. Right? And it's coming from the senior. So it's going down today, and we got some ladies in here talking about, I already said sex, so I ain't going to repeat that. Right? Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Yes. Ladies in the building. I'll say something real soft and sweet. That's right. Okay. Heather, how you doing today?
I'm awesome. Thank you. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yes, we know you are excited.
We have a series of conversations. It's not all sex. Okay.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. Not all sex.
You sure?
I am, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
We're going to start off a little lighter. Yeah, we're gonna start off a little lighter.
Oh, so
today.
we doing the sex last.
Yeah, we're gonna move into that.
So this is foreplay. Okay, so we got a little foreplay first.
My goodness.
Right, and okay. Well, let's get this show started. I'm glad everybody could be here. Today is Monday, the 18th. Tomorrow we'll be reading to some kids tomorrow. We got some men that's going to be reading to the kids tomorrow. And there are some other things taking place, I'm sure. So I'm going to let them get right into this because I think it's important. Foreplay is always important. I tell the men all the time, it's foreplay all day. Make sure that you get your foreplay in.
Oh, my.
Other than that, you're going to have a frustrated evening. So, ladies,
Yes.
Heather,
Okay.
Miss Crystal is in the building. Mona is the sexpert for the day. Right? And what's the young lady with?
Rebecca.
Rebecca is at the end. She's young and smiling like this conversation is too much for her ears. So she put her headphones on a little extra tight. Right? Right. So, okay. Well, Heather.
So we are having a two-segmented conversation today. We're starting off because we are so excited to have Rebecca Cobbin with us today of Mom to Mommy, and she is an amazing woman who has a heart for mothers and motherhood and all things mother. And so she is the hostess of the Mothers with Grace mixer coming up this Thursday. And so I invited her to come to our podcast to talk a little bit about that, a little bit about her background before we kick off this senior our elder care conversation, which is today's topic, is of course around sex and sexuality in terms of elders. So
if you over 50, you're a senior having sex, so make sure you tune in. And they jumped on too, because I said sex and women.
Oh my gosh. So we're going to start with Rebecca. And Rebecca, we're just going to ask you a little bit about your story, your background, how you got to mom to mommy, and then tell us about what we can expect from the mixer coming up on Thursday, of which Crystal is a speaker, and so I am too.
Yes, thank you all for having me. My name is Rebecca Cobbin. I am the executive director of Mom to Mommy. We assist single mothers in Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb County who are interested in entrepreneurship, financial literacy, as well as self-care. And for National Single Parent Day, which is March 21st, we will be having our first Mothers in Grace Mixer. So it will be free to the single mothers of the community. We will have some wonderful speakers, like you say, yourself, Crystal. We have a young lady named Nicole who has a wonderful book called Bear. And just sharing your stories on single parenthood and how you have transitioned into being successful business women. And so I think that's really important for single mothers to hear, because oftentimes a lot of mothers kind of give in to the pressure of taking care of children, by ourselves, in which I am a single mother. I have 3 girls. And the load is very heavy. And instead of giving in, I wanted to really just put my best foot forward and still, go for the win. And I want other mothers to know that they can do that as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, you gave me the look like I don't know what to say. So, Crystal, as one of the speakers for this event, what will you be sharing?
All things economic. So financial literacy, telling a little bit of my story, which I divorced when my daughter was 4. So understanding what it's like to go from a 2-person income household to 1 and the impact that has. So sharing that story, and then it's just some tips for
co-parenting.
And co-parenting, because that's very, very important. I say I have the best ex-husband ever. We co-parent really, really well, and it is something that's possible. So to be able to also give some tips on that.
Thank you.
Okay, and talk about your initiative, your single mother initiative.
The SMART initiative, and SMART is Single Mothers Are Rising and Thriving. And I lead with finances because I'm a financial strategist. But when you reclaim your personal financial strategy and you heal in order to be able to do that, it positively impacts every area of your life, because all of those things are impacting those other areas. So the SMART initiative obviously leads with finances, but it's a holistic approach. So from small business owners to, again, healing, like Calvin said, that co-parenting relationship, the self-care, the self-love, the getting over the feelings of guilt. So that whole holistic approach, because I'm a firm believer that when women are healed, we heal our mates, our children, and the communities that we serve.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And as a speaker on this lineup of amazing women, I'm going to talk about just the personal journey of kind of being able to bounce back and find your purpose and navigate while you are in the process of motherhood. So for me, as many of you know my story, I have been married 3 times. And from my second marriage, I have a son, now 16, who for a period of that time, his dad and I have been co-parenting. It has not always been fun and as exciting as Crystal described. There were some bumps and some challenges along the way. So some things I had to learn about me and some things I needed to learn about him and understand about our backstory. So our history, our upbringing, some things that I didn't think about before while we were dating and laughing because we were older, having a younger child. I was in my I was turning 40 and he was turning close to 60. Right. So our conversation and laughing about what if we had children? And really not giving that real, because God has a sense of humor, in case you guys didn't know.
Listen.
Yeah, and so God allowed a child to be born to these older people who weren't expecting a child to be born to them and thought it was a joke. Yeah, so kind of talking about that, and then now how to navigate that in the midst of your purpose. So that's what I'm going to talk about.
Awesome. Well, that's nice. Don't forget the show starts Thursday at what time, ladies?
4. From 4 to 6. And
From
there's
4 to
still
6.
spaces for people to register, right?
Yes. For mothers who are interested in attending, they can register at momtomommy with the number 2.com/events, and there's still spaces available. So make sure you register.
Yes, thank you. And so we'll see you on Thursday, and we're going to bring Rebecca back to have a conversation with us around our authors and advocates. So she doesn't know that yet. I'm just putting that invitation out there so she can come back and really talk about her work within senior moms. I'm sorry, senior moms. Yeah. Single moms. So I just pulled up a couple of interesting points that I wanted to, I'm sure both Rebecca and Crystal could kind of attest to this, but I looked at some article that talked about all these things about single parents and single moms, but it also talked about...
Make it brief. We got to get to the sex.
Dude.
We just went through the foreplay. We don't need to highlight no single mothers, nothing.
It's called The Price of Single Parenting. So it talked about housing making up 29% of your expenses, food 18%, education 16%, the cost of transportation, healthcare, clothing. So there's a lot to navigate as a single parent. And so for those who are supporting single parents, whether they're male or female.
Y'all ain't mentioned that. I didn't want to say nothing.
Right.
But go ahead.
So whether you're male or female, there is a cost to it.
Yes.
And so there's also a benefit in how we bring our families together. And that's why we started the Emmy TV podcast, Put Your Family First. So how do we do that and do that better so that we can make better choices for our children and have better examples for them?
It's better economics when you work together.
Absolutely.
Period.
So I just want to thank our guests for being here.
Yeah,
Thank
they don't have to leave. They don't have to leave. More the merrier. They don't have to leave.
She wasn't kicking us out.
Oh, okay. I thought y'all was being exploited.
We're
I didn't know
segueing.
that we were talking about sex.
We are going to
this is
segue.
When your birthday?
called-
this right.
Shut up.
We are going to segue into and turn it over to our resident expert, which is Mana has joined our team. And it's Mana, not Mona.
Correct.
Mana has joined our team on the third Monday to talk around how we're building relationships with our elders and things that actually connect us and keep us connected to our elders and understanding, because at some point this is the same direction that we're going. So the more we know, the more relationships that we and respect that we can build for our elders and our community. And so Mana, I'm going to turn it over to you to kick off this conversation and put Calvin at ease.
Okay,
So,
first.
hold on,
Cal.
Okay, Mama.
He's excited.
Right.
Definitely.
Because I want everybody to understand. This is your direction, like she said, but I'm telling you, you're already there. So when you cross over, you over, 50? 50, when you get
55.
your AARP card, I know you can get it when you're younger, but when you're in your 50s, you're considered a senior, right?
Correct. 55.
All right, seniors.
This counts.
Right, this counts.
Yeah.
Right? We still stroking though.
AARP.
So seniors, we still doing it. Right, and we doing it beyond 60. Some into their 70s. Let's go.
So, as we know, sex is a basic human need, right?
Yes,
it
it
is.
I
And
always need it.
there's a lot of misconceptions around sex. So people think that, if you're young, you're doing it. If you're old, you're not. That's not the case.
That's not the case.
That's not the case at all. Actually, there's more STDs in the older adult population there is in any other population.
Yeah.
In the villages of Florida, they have the highest STDs than any other community in the world. That's Florida.
That's wrong.
I mean, they're swingers. They hang out. They meet people. They talk. They chat. They meet. And then they get it. They get it going on.
She said, and then they get it.
Yeah. And then, you know, they don't think about wearing a condom. What do you think about as a condom? Oh, they're going to get baby. You're going to get pregnant. No. You got to wear a condom to protect yourself from what?
STDs.
Mm-hmm.
So an older adult, I don't need a condom. What are you talking about? I've already been married to this person, married to that person. That one's died. I got another one going on.
Wow.
They don't think about it. But then all those relationships that they've had with those other people in their past, they're having that relationship with that new person. Because everything, it gets transferred. It sure does. So it's a basic need, but it's still there. And there's a lot of common myths that go with it. Okay.
Okay, I got a joke.
Go ahead. What's the joke?
I'll save it for later. It just hit me. Go ahead.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
You can say it since you got it on your mind.
No. Nothing like an old disease. You know what I mean?
Oh, my God.
So the myths are that when, you know, you think that sex is just for the young and the attractive. It's not true. That's only a myth. It's so you think, oh no, it's just for the media portrays it like that. But have you been seeing lately? Now you're seeing a little bit of commercials with the older, grayer hair and the pretty lady, and because our population is now over 65, so our population has changed. So our baby boomers are there. So we've had to go along with the changes. Sex does not belong solely to the youth or the beautiful. People don't age out of sex. Sex fulfills expression, natural desire, and connection with other people. So maybe as a younger adult, it's fast, and as an older adult, maybe an older person, it's filled with affection and more passion and more enhanced relationships. It's a connection with one another. They say older adults are unable to have sex because their bodies are too old and too sick. They say, oh, you'll have a heart attack if you have sex. That's not true. That may make you healthier. That's a total misconception.
Yes.
Some of our aging bodies complicate sex. As we know, our bodies hurt. We have arthritis and we're sore, and you know there's problems for females because of estrogen, and you know they're going through the change of life, and you know they have dryness, but there's things that they can use, you know, products that they can use, and then of course men, they have erectile dysfunction, so that happens with it can happen with older adult males. What do you think? Do you think people in nursing homes have sex? They do. I walked into many rooms and caught them.
Really?
Are you
yeah.
serious?
Oh yeah. And you know what? There's
Bang.
not a thing you can do. That's their right. That's their right.
Yeah.
As long as they don't have a guardian.
Bang, bang.
If they don't have a guardian, this is really kind of an embarrassing thing because you have to contact the guardian.
Why?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you have to reach out to the guardian and say, we know that such and such is having sex. Not an easy topic, so you need to find out about getting a condom or how to, you know, it's their right, but you still have to reach out. But they still have a right to make their decisions. They can trump anything you say because they have their rights. So just because they relocate into a facility doesn't mean that they don't have sex any longer. They try in these facilities now to promote independence and dignity in making choices, and sex might be a part of their choices. And nursing home people that have Alzheimer's and dementia, do you think they have sex?
Probably.
They do. Not all of them.
They just don't remember.
Not everybody. They might not remember.
Don't do that.
They might have cognitive impairments, but they that might be something that occurs, and it's unique to each individual. Each person has their own needs or their own desires. there's so many changes in the body that, like with men, that testosterone declines. So that can be like a problem. So there's medication that they can get on. And a lot of times that a man feels that if he's unable to do that, that he's not the right type of man, or he's not a man anymore. So that's something that it bothers him with his dignity. Mm-hmm. Where a female, they may feel like if they're in menopause or perimenopause, that they have a decrease in their estrogen, and they may feel like they're not sexually active, or because, they're not pleasing their spouse or their husband or their boyfriend, and they want to be able to do that because that's something that they enjoy, or that they want to be a part of, that desire. So there is things that they can help them with. The decreased. Is that mine? Sorry. So that, as we talked about, for women, there's a decline in estrogen that can result in psychological changes and physiological changes. So decreased sexual responsiveness, vaginal dryness, changes in the mood, lack of energy, painful intercourse. They can talk with the doctor about that and the things that they can use or the things that they need.
That's them young people.
Not just young people, it's everyone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
So how do you think you can maintain that relationship as you grow older? So one of the things are communicate with your partner.
Absolutely.
The problems that you might be experiencing, maybe the comfort level, and just communicate. These are my issues. These are my problems. It can be embarrassing.
Right.
It could be embarrassing to that female or that male. That's not an easy thing to tell them. Or this is why I don't. It's not because I don't like you or want to be with you. It's because of these issues. So then, but they can also seek out a sex therapist, somebody that can help them or talk to them about those issues as well.
Is that something that's available at the nursing home?
No, but we can. That has been brought up where they've had to see it. We've contacted our psychologists who've brought people in, and they've had. Not everybody knows about that. You have to be very protective and use the HIPAA laws to protect on what people are getting treatment for. But just because somebody comes in, they think they're just seeing a therapist. They don't necessarily know what that therapist is.
Okay.
And then they have to remember to still practice safe sex, as we talked about, condoms, and making sure that because they can catch all kinds of things, And then what? There's all kinds of definitions to sex. So it can be physical, it can be touch, it can be holding, it can be, just anal, it can be, just different ways. So they have to learn to expand their definitions of sex, and as professionals in the field, we have to be understanding of that. So that can be, it can be kind of embarrassing sometimes for those who are caring for them. So they have to be a little bit more understanding.
Yeah, that's not quite the same as walking in on your parents.
No. That's not easy to walk in on your
grandparents.
That is not fun to walk into.
And on any one of them, you're supposed to start clapping. Give them a standing ovation.
Yeah, start clapping.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Because you just don't think it. You don't think of your parents doing that.
Right.
Your grandparents. No, that's
do that.
Isn't it interesting though how much sex is had, and yet the conversations are so. People are embarrassed to have the conversations, but they're having mad sex all throughout the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's because they have a set standard. Like they're not open to anything new. And learning someone, I think, I'm coming in with my prescription. Right? A lot of times this is what I know how to do. I'm going to do it this way.
Right.
This worked in all my relationships. Well, this relationship, she needs a little more conversation, a little more time. You know what I mean? You have to be able to make that adjustment, I think. But a lot of people sexually, that's because we don't communicate. We don't learn how to satisfy properly.
And then, they have to think. We have to think about changing the routine. So maybe Maybe it's not the same thing all the time. Maybe they change to meet the needs of their life and to improve their life. Change. Maybe that's, maybe it's a better healthy lifestyle, or like you said, the foreplay, or maybe changing the setting, or going to a different place, or making it more emotional.
The garage. I caught you in the garage slipping.
Well, we had talked. I had heard about a golf cart.
Yeah,
because
it's out here.
in the villages.
Yeah, it's out here.
They ride the golf carts around, and
They ride.
Behind the
they
bushes.
drive the golf carts.
Yeah. I'm going to play golf.
Yeah,
I'm going to go
we'll
play
go find
something.
this corner over here.
Yeah, because it's open field, it's space.
Yeah, there's nobody over
and
there.
it answers your fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go golfing.
I think it's important as we're looking at our elders and we're thinking about humanizing them again. I think the topic humanizes our elders again to remind us that people are vibrant and thriving throughout their entire life, because we have been conditioned to think that once you get to this age, once you become a grandparent, then so many things end for you. But that's a limited way of thinking, and that's a limited understanding of the elevation and the evolution of a human being.
Well, the truth of the matter is, I'm not just falling asleep just to be falling asleep. When I caught my grandfather falling asleep, he might have been tired.
He might have been tired because he had a lot of activity going on.
She's like, what's wrong with Granny? She over there asleep, wig tilted, everything. Girl, you better get out of here.
He might have been hidden under the covers a long time. He didn't know about what was going on under those covers.
My aunt and uncle wouldn't come out the room. It seemed like they was always in the room.
Okay.
I'm talking about, and they well in their 60s when I was young.
That's a wonderful thing.
It is.
That's really a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, it can be difficult to think that your parent or grandparent is a sexual being after a certain age. Like when you start having children, the last thing you're thinking is your grandparents are
Well,
going through the process.
I can tell you guys kind of a funny story. My father was in an assisted living, and my mom had passed away. And I had went over to clean his apartment, and I found ladies' panties in my dad's bed. I was really embarrassed. I'm like, oh, Dad. And then he was embarrassed.
Really?
Oh, no. Yeah, he was like, oh, excuse me. I mean, he was embarrassed by it. Because you like again, you just
Put them down. I'm gonna be a live singer. You hear me? I'm gonna be live. I mean, I'm a singer now, but I'm gonna be live.
So, something else that we have to consider as we grow older, we have to take care of ourselves.
Yes.
We have to take care of our body inside and out with everything. Taking care of our health, taking care of our eating right, exercising, avoiding too much alcohol. Too much drinking last night was St. Patrick's Day. Too much of that. Smoking, doing drugs. All that can impact our lives later. What we do earlier damages what we do when we're older.
Absolutely.
So it might make a difference to what, could make a difference to their sexuality, could make a difference to their heart, their lungs, whatever they've got going on. Maybe they might not be able to interact. That's so, and it can change the libido. Mm-hmm. So a healthy body makes a lot of difference.
I recommend to a lot of men Nugenics. Now, I've gone through Nugenics. Some of them for testosterone. That Nugenics can be strong, right? Because they want you to take so many. I'm not that far gone where I got to take 4. But I will take 1. Right. Whenever I get a new package, I open up, take 2, then I'm down to one a day, and then I move to 1 every other day. Right, for the testosterone piece, I do that. But I again recommend that men do that. Right, it's not necessarily that you got to get that blue pill. You know what I mean? Because that is causing
A lot of problems.
A lot of
problems with the heart.
Yeah, that's causing a lot of problems.
So no matter what age, sexuality is a vital part of somebody's identity and their overall health and the way they feel about each other. And we have so many myths with society. It's not true. It's not. I mean, we have to look at things from a different perspective.
What would you say are some of the myths that we, outside of the obvious, like older people don't have sex, our grandparents aren't having sex, like outside of that? Because I think that probably, if you guys would agree, that's probably one of the most obvious myths.
They're having more sex than some of the younger people.
They are. Well, like I said, the villages are the most popular place. They're swingers.
Wow.
So what are we calling swingers?
No boundaries.
No boundaries. They're meeting up, and it's
Can I get it? Yeah,
Playtime.
you can get it. No emotional attachment.
a friend with benefits, but that's it.
That's it.
It's a friend with benefits.
Okay.
And you know, a lot of times when the senior's older, sometimes it's hard for them to get into another relationship.
Yeah.
After they've lost their loved one and their wife or their husband or whoever that's in their life, because they have financial things to protect. They have their homes, their cars, whatever. And a lot of times they don't want their children to lose those things. That's their legacy. And they want their that to be safe for their child. So sometimes they're like, I don't want to get into another marriage, or I don't want to get into a serious relationship, because once they get into that, then that comes with, they have to be committed, or they feel they have to be committed.
That if you've been married to some, like even if I look at my parents that were married over 50 years, and then my dad died, like and I've had, talking to my mom about that, and like, how do you then, after you've lived this wonderful life with this person, then even get into another relationship with someone else?
Yeah.
Like, that could be difficult. And never mind the money aspect of it. It's
Right.
just that attachment piece of it that I can see would be.
Well, I think, for a lot of people, I've been told that they never stop loving that one person.
Right.
But they have enough love in their heart to love somebody else. And they're lonely. And they don't want to be, they want quality of life, and they don't want to be by themselves. So
And they gotta have it.
Yeah. And that can be,
And
that can be something
You
too.
gotta have it.
They
You gotta have it. You've been very sexually active. He dropped off. After all of the stuff happened, you still got that habit.
Right. So they want, and but some of them want commitment and some don't. Some want to be swingers.
Yeah.
And so I do. I'm not sure if you have. If I'm jumping ahead to masturbation. Is that part of what you're sharing with us today?
You jumped ahead.
I'm asking. Well, those, because if it's not a part, I just wanted to interject that as another alternative.
That happens as well. Seniors do that as well, and we walk in on that too when we're in communities.
Yeah.
Do we knock, or do we just walk into the room?
No, I mean they're supposed to knock, but it just becomes,
You going to go check in or something?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and
get checked out.
and then but you have to be careful with those who have dementia, and they might be doing that, but they may put things in areas that should not be there. So we have to really be careful with that, which can cause infections and cause problems physically with that person.
Right. Get a new one called Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
The doctor say, "What you got?" "I got Toy Story 2."
You are cracking yourself up.
And then with the increase of gay relationships too, you're seeing that in communities, and you're seeing that out in the world these days.
Rebecca, do you see what you have to look forward to?
I do. I'm like, oh my. Y'all see I'm over here like, oh my grandparents? Like, I walked in on my mom one time, and I was like 5. I was devastated. All I wanted was like a cup of water. And I was like, that's the price I gotta pay for a cup of water? That, like, when you was talking about it, I was just thinking like, oh my goodness, I remember that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reality of adulthood and older adulthood. Yeah.
It is a need.
And old adulthood. So it can even happen in the 90s. It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. That's good news.
Yeah, right.
That is promising.
That's good news.
That is good news.
Where your grandfather at? Down at the brothel.
My mother-in-law is like, put it in. She just turned 96.
My goodness.
Put it in.
Put it in. She's joking with us, telling us that.
That's right. So sex is good.
Put it in.
I'm going to laugh about that later.
Right. Right, because back in the day, that's probably all they said. She's 96. Back in the day, can I put it in? Put it in.
She's always looking for that boy. She's always looking for that boyfriend. That's what and we laugh about it. But even though we laugh about it with her and we have fun with her about it, I think she really she misses that.
Yeah.
She misses
Yeah.
that companionship.
Yeah.
She misses that. And she'll tell my husband, I don't want, he's like, well, Mom, if we find a boyfriend that's older than you, you're 96. He's not going to be able to drive you, take you anywhere. She goes, I don't want one my age. I want one about 60.
Right.
And then, you know what? Then we got to think about these topics. Like, society says, dirty old man. Or what do they call a cougar? She's a cougar. She likes a young. She is an old woman that likes a young guy.
They have a whole cruise.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cougars.
No,
a cougar,
they don't have an old man cruise.
Wait, what?
A cougar
They
cruise.
have a cougar cruise.
Oh,
My
boy.
goodness.
They literally have a cougar cruise.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Cher the star? Is she the...
And the young guys get on. Yeah, it's the real cruise. We don't have one.
Yes, it would be called something different for
Dirty old man cruise. We don't have that.
or
We don't get to
that
do
is
that.
known.
We'd be like, oh, you're a pervert.
Yeah, that's the first thing they say. Pervert, dirty old man.
No, I want some young. Give me some of that young. They on the cougar cruise talking about Chinese food.
Cougar cruise.
That's interesting.
It is. It's crazy. It's live. We live in a live world.
We do.
Yeah.
And it's changing. And we have to relearn to look at it in a different perspective.
You know, I was watching. I was watching public TV. I like the Learning Channel. I actually was watching a documentary on Mae West and kind of her influence on that early sexuality, but her rise kind of came out of the burlesque movement, where it was a lot more men dressed in drag and things like that. So when you talked about that, that the presence of the transgender and the gay, lesbian, I'm not getting all the right letters, but you know what I'm saying, that those communities are also in our senior communities. It's not something that's new.
Right.
It's not new information. It's not new under the sun.
We sure the hell act like it.
Well, right.
We act like this is just happened.
I don't know if we act like it's just happened or if people are feeling it's being pushed on them.
Yeah, the push part I get.
Yeah. But it's
right.
nothing new under the sun.
Right. But it is definitely a lot more public. But I also saw another documentary that was talking about the increased need for communities that are specific and open because of the stigmas that go along with the traditional senior living. So now that having those types of communities for the more public communities, it's a major push for that. Have you seen that, Mana?
Yeah, they're doing much more education within centers. Okay. Like when you go in, that's a part of your training to have an understanding of that population and making sure that we're understanding to that and not judging or stereotyping or anything that way. And, and being respectful and providing dignity to everyone.
Right.
Treating everyone the same way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. It's you're a human. You're a person.
I really believe that you should, it should be some seniors talking to some young girls. Mm-hmm. And some seniors talking to some young boys. I really believe the fact that we don't have the connection, that a lot of times you don't get the wisdom. Right? Which is why we do the work that we do, is to make sure that they get the wisdom. Right? And the reason why we have a 98% parental involvement is to make sure that they get their wisdom. Mm-hmm. Right? The wisdom is what is missing from so many families, communities, and homes. Right? So when we don't have respect for the seniors, which is why this was just such a great thing to do, to incorporate, because we talk about family so much on our show, it was important to incorporate. Like, my brother is, Colum is 65, 66, I think the same day, right? And they just as active as they could be, right? And it's just, I think it's important that we have the respect for our seniors. Because I got a lot of questions for the old ass. Excuse my language, but I got a lot of questions.
And as we get older, it changes. Like, now that I'm like 58, I think, wow, the new 60. The new 60 is more like I'm 40.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, like, when you get like 70, you still kind of feel like you're 50. I mean, it's just age is just a number.
Yeah.
So you really have to look at that too, as in perspective.
Yeah.
And those conversations that you said bridge that gap that it's just absolutely missing. And if we're continuing the conversations throughout, then it won't be, I'm so embarrassed when.
Right.
Because we've been talking about not just the sex piece, but everything, like you said, bringing the wisdom in.
The wisdom.
It's definitely
because the disconnect. This is why do you act? The seniors say to the young, why do y'all act like that when we were so? Well, because the communication got broke at the disappointment. So like us, I'm still trying to find a videotape. My great grandmother Artemisia is in the house. I got this old video camera. I had the old video camera from back in the day. We're not going to talk about that camera, right? So I'm videotaping her talk to my mom. I can't find the cassette, right? Wow. But at the time, she was 98 and clear. Right? And talking trash, both of them.
That video, that's classic.
That would be priceless. I cannot find, and it's on them it had the little cassettes and everything, but that's just some of the things that, when I was coming up, it was my Uncle Alex, right? So when my Uncle Alex got sick, right, I was tasked with going to take care of him. He had the catheter, all of that. So that was, for a young guy myself, it was life-changing.
Oh, yeah.
It's life-changing to have to...
It opens your eyes.
Oh, hey, look here. Wide open. But it was my uncle, right? My guy. So, I went through the process. I think I threw up the first day.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
But after the next day, I was good, right? I just knew this is something that had to be for my uncle. This is my great uncle.
You had to do it.
I had to do it. And so I think a lot of times we don't put kids, right, in understanding what grandparenting and those things, like, they just, and I'm young and I don't need to know what they're talking about, right? And that's where society really is losing.
The best programs that are within senior centers or assisted livings or long-term care are often intergenerational programs where the kids will come in. Before COVID, we did all kinds of that stuff. I mean, babies, people brought their babies in, and they did little kids programs, and they sat and they watched the kids. I mean, we had seniors watching the kids for the day, but that's changed a lot. COVID has really changed the world a lot. But they would sit and talk and have conversations, and they can learn so much from each other.
For sure.
And my boys grew up, because I was an activities director for most of their childhood, and they grew up going to the nursing home every day. And now they have a total respect for seniors.
That's good.
And it's important to really love your elders.
Yeah, you got to, because they loving them each other.
Yeah, they are.
They're doing their thing.
They're doing their thing. thing.
They doing their thing.
You know, so the society has to change its way of looking at things.
Yeah. Go. I haven't seen any, like senior porn, but I know it's out there.
Oh, I'm sure it's out there.
I don't want to see it.
No,
Over 70.
That's
No.
interesting.
that
Over
would not be
70
up.
porn.
You know, you said something that triggered a thought. Not the porn. But one of the I think the benefits that happened from kind of the disconnect is that it made that senior community, the elder community, stronger, because now they can relate to each other. They can relate to, the disconnect from the children or the grandchildren, and it kind of builds their sense of unity and community. But we're missing out on that.
Yeah, we are.
We're missing out by being and staying disconnected and
Well, I don't know,
losing
because
respect.
there are a lot of, like she said, a lot of them are lonely. Some of these people don't get a visit for years.
Yeah, for
For a long time.
For a long time,
from
nobody
family
comes
and
in.
friends,
So I
right.
don't know if they really are really right, because the benefit is if they were having events, you've been by yourself so long. Just like right now, remember the article I wrote, how they keep finding men, EMS workers, coming in, and what they published was talked about. Every time they get a call, they come into a house, it's a black man, all alone, been dead.
Oh,
For a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
so sad.
And no one,
No sense of, right?
Nobody stopped by.
Because no one was calling.
Nobody's
one went
calling.
to check. Yeah.
Stop by.
Yeah.
Or care. Right? Because, again, if we look at the disconnect, right? Once we split, that's the beginning of the disconnect all the way down that line.
Yep.
Yeah. And when they lose that loved one or that husband, that wife, and then they're relying on their children.
And they don't have necessarily.
And not everyone's children are supportive. And they're not always there for them.
This is why you got to have a lot of them, like my mama. She had a bunch of them.
But you know what? They can have a bunch of them.
Yeah,
but
we
there's
had a bunch
still
of 'em.
only one or two usually that takes
That
the
are the
responsibility,
ones.
or the leaders of the family that really
Yeah.
takes that responsibility
Yeah, we all had
of
a day.
caring for the parent.
She had enough that each one of us had a day.
And that was good.
Yeah, and so each one of us had a day, and then some of us, because I was the bully, right? So I wasn't the meds guy. I come, put your gym shoes on. You can't have no White Castles. We're going for a walk. All of that. I was that guy. So the day that I come over, she ain't taking no meds. Oh, get out of here. Let me get some gym shoes on. That's why I bought them. Let's go. And everybody else, everybody played their role. When somebody missed, they get called. We get coverage. And I'm seeing it now even with her and her family, right? But we have to do a better job with each other.
We do.
And you'll see more weddings and things too in older adult populations now.
Oh, nice.
They're swingers. But then you are seeing people getting married, and you are seeing people connecting. There's still a lot of outside stuff going on because that one's got kids and that one's got kids. And how do you bring it all together? And how are they going to all get along? And that sometimes is a problem for that couple. But a lot of times they work it out, or they don't care.
Right.
Hey, this is our life at this point. You guys do your own thing. It's not our life now. They don't want to be alone.
Well,
It's understandable.
all right, ladies. Rebecca, tell everybody where they can meet you at.
I will be at the Artist Village, Detroit, March 21st for National Single Parent Day for our Mothers with Grace Mixer. And that's going to be Thursday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
What's your website, sister?
Momtomommy.com. That's 2 with the number 2. MOMMY.com.
Crystal?
crystalgun.com and unitedcommunitysolutions.org.
That's gun with 2 ends.
Guns with 2 ends.
The gun with 2 ends. You like that? Yeah.
Mana Hansen Hill, gerontologist, and you can reach me at my email at mhansen10@email.davenport.edu, or 248-619-5874.
Miss Ellen?
You can reach me at yourinspiredwiththedjourney.com, yourinspiredjourney.com. You can also reach me at 313-759-7855.
You can reach me at calvintman.com, emmyworld.com, goodfathersonly.com. But I want to say something that I think is very, very important. And a lot of times we miss out. And just to touch on sex.